There is a massive difference between I can't and giving yourself permission. My name is Mr. 2020. This is section 37. How cool is this? Let's just continue, shall we? I can't write a book. I don't know what to say. I can't write a book. I don't know how to publish. I can't write a book. I don't know where the book cover will come from. I can't. What happens is a lot of people make the mistake of making themselves write a book. I'm going to make myself write a book. I'm going to make myself. I'd suggest that you discover yourself writing a book. How could you discover yourself while writing a book? What could you discover about yourself while writing a book? You see, I schedule in book writing time. And what I do during book writing time is become infinitely curious about what I'm writing as I'm writing it. Oh my God, talk about such good fun. If I'm infinitely curious about what I'm writing while I'm writing it, it just seems to be like the listeners, the readers, they become much more curious about what I'm writing too. And who's writing it. And who's listening to it or reading it. In other words, you. I'm a massive fan of learning as behavior change. I'm not a fan about learning about. I love learning about shit, don't get me wrong. I learn about a lot of stuff. My problem is I almost never complete a book. I almost never complete a course. I'll admit it. What I do, though, is implement shitloads. And I find the best courses are designed in ways, or I can redesign a course in a way that I can get the gold from it really, really quick, and I can start nailing shit. Right? I may never complete a book, but I may read the last 3 paragraphs of every chapter. And if I read the last 3 paragraphs of every chapter of a good how-to book or how-to course, oh my God, I've got some gold to run with. And it also tells me, is the rest worth listening to? That's one way that I sort of kind of do things. Another is I just let my mind wander. I engage this wondering and wondering, both with an A and with an O. And I find myself simply doing something different. So often spontaneously. So I've got this time that I set aside. Seems to be a time that I set aside. And I allow myself to engage and explore, to become extremely curious, and discover what gets dictated in this case. Instead of being a dictator over your mind and over your writing, making yourself write a book, you could actually give yourself permission to play. I love the word can. Can in Mexican means can in Mexican is puedo, P-U-E-D-O, if I'm correct, and it means I can. Can is a permissive verb. We've talked about this before. Can being a permissive verb, give yourself permission to play as little children, and to become curious about you and your world. And to have a little cry once in a while, as well as a giggle more often than you probably have been. Because you know I'm a massive fan of what is. Instantaneous and spontaneous. What is? I love butchering language too, or at least being creative with it. Me is, right? Me feels like a we. And remarkable, we explored a tiny little process, one that seems tiny. It's me, thee, we, and we. Me just feels good, doesn't it? Compared to I. Anyway, me. It's me. Knock, knock, who's there? Me. And when attention is devoted to thee, wow. I see Victoria. The. With a bunch of E's. The letter E's, as well as E's, E-A-S-E. Anyway, that invites a we, doesn't it? Ooh, like two kinds of we, actually. The first we is a we that just spontaneously and instantaneously, like, hey, here we are, having a wee good time. But I seem to digress. So I don't make myself right. I don't make myself speak. I don't make myself much. We all do. I invite myself to. I give me permission to experience more we. Anyway. Any we that you want to bring into your life, just do it. So I had a lady writing me for 3 years, wanting to take ManifestingMasteryCourse.com. It's a 90-day program, $97. And she writes me for 3 years about her money struggles. And finally I get she's willing to listen. In other words, she's become curious instead of confident. Confident people are confident in their problems. Curious people, on the other hand, I suggest you become much less confident and heaps more curious, but I seem to digress. So after 3 years, she's getting curious about what else is possible. And I say, look, let me ask you a question, right? You told me how much you enjoy coffee and a donut. How often do you enjoy coffee and a donut, and where you get it at? I'm curious. I just love coffee, and I used to be a cop. I used to love donuts. And she tells me, and I say, look, what's that cost you? And she goes, oh, it's not much. It's like $4 or $5 a day. I say, radio. It's not costing you much. Just $4 or $5 a day. And in the course of a month, that's $120, $150. And you've been wanting to take ManifestingMasteryCourse.com for years, but you don't have the money. What's the coffee and the donut really costing you? I invite you to make a connection. I invite you to become curious about, instead of being confident about your reasons why you can't, I invite you to get very curious about how you could. Who you could give yourself permission to be, because the coffee and the donut, that's probably just an identity of yours. It's coffee and donut time. And you go and you see the coffee and donut girl. And you get the coffee and the donut from the girl, and you give her a tip, right? So if it's $4, you give her that extra $1. Here you go. It won't make her or break her if you don't give her the tip. It might make or break you. You could discover a whole new you if you just diverted some of those funds. So here's what happens. I'm expecting in 30 days that she's got enough money to join the program and get the Feel It Real Power Pack, right? Because in the course of a month, that's $120, $150. Manifesting Mastery Course is $100. The Feel It Real Power Pack is $27. And she nails it. She actually nails it faster than she thinks, because once she realized, I am unconsciously spending money when I could be consciously investing in me. She didn't have to change her money situation. She got to change who she was being moment by moment. And so here's what's happening now. She got the money, right? Less than a month. Banged it out. Joined MM, sending me updates. Enjoying the Feel It Real Power Pack. I said, spend a couple extra bucks, print out the printout part so you can scribble notes inside. It's only 33 pages, but I can tell you it'll change your life if you print it out and you use the recordings and you scribble stuff inside. In other words, do it, just don't have it. When you do coffee, you just don't have a cup of coffee. You drink it, you pee it out. But I seem to digress, don't I? But let's keep going. I've invited her to another program we have. It's an ongoing emergent. It's called Remarkable. Cost $100 a month. live group call, private Facebook group, all that stuff. It's where she's playing because she shifted. And she said, I don't know. I don't know where I'd get $100 a month from. I do. And she doesn't have to give up coffee. All she has to do is imagine her different in different ways. When she imagines her different in different ways, ease shows up. Effortless shows up. So you notice today we dove into a couple cool little things. One was confidence versus curiosity. I'm not a fan of confident. I'm very confident that I'm not a fan of confident. I'm exponentially curious about how else curiosity could show up in your life, though. Right? Meanwhile, did you ever consider being the coffee and donut person at 9:30 was an identity? The identity of spending to get through the morning. And you could have another identity just for fun. I suggest that you give life to quite a few. We just call these micro-identities. They're like microdosing. I've never microdosed, but I have friends that have. And they say it changes your perspectives. It expands, it suspends perspectives. And I invite you to play. Because if you notice, you know what? I could give up coffee and a donut for a month. I could actually take coffee to work every day, discover what life's like without a donut. I invite you to be curious. So here's something that happened. I'm going to tell you about how confident I am. So we do one of those Friday calls. Those Friday calls are actually Saturday morning for us here in Australia. And we finished the Saturday call. I forget which one it was. It was a goodie. It may have been the Wisdom Teachings, the Freedom Teachings call. And I take care of the after business. I get in the car to go to the pool. I call Victoria on those Ray-Ban sunglasses. And I get out of the car and it's cold outside. And as you probably know, I've been swimming 1 kilometer a day in the cold water pool. And it's cold outside. And I told her I'm not feeling the magic. Now I could have powered through. I decided to go play. So I got curious. How much can I swim and will I find the magic? I swam half a kilometer. That's 20 laps instead of 40. Remember, I started out swimming 25 meters. Now I actually swam 20 laps instead of 40. And I didn't call myself a quitter. I just discovered it was time for a change. I got out of the cold water pool. And that day I went to the front desk and I joined the gym. Since joining the gym, I have fallen in love with doing the 1 row of machines. I call it the circuit. And every day I smash the heavy bag. I just love smashing the heavy bag. Oh my God, it doesn't look like how normal people smash it. I'm doing some really fascinating kung fu stuff. But I love smashing the bag. And here's what happens. The day I start at the gym, I get on a machine that does all my body stuff. It measures my fat, my water, my bone density, all that stuff. And the other day I get back on the machine and it measures my fat, my water, my bone density, my muscle mass, all that stuff. Turns out I've picked up weight since joining the gym. I've actually lost a little bit of fat. That's cool. I've lost a lot of fat since the beginning of the year, about 45 pounds. But I've gained, since joining the gym just a few weeks ago, 1 chicken leg of muscle every day. I actually figured it out, because we feed the dogs chicken legs every day. And I gained 1 chicken leg of muscle mass a day since joining the gym. That's 8 pounds of pure rock-hard muscle. I'm infinitely curious about who I'll be next, about what I'll do next, about how I'll look in a year. Because I can tell you, I'm feeling dynamic. And the gym only costs me a tiny little bit more every day. Who would have thunk that not being confident about getting in water and muscling through the cold and becoming curious about who I could become in the gym could totally change my body that fast? I've loved getting thinner. I'm really loving getting stronger. Have a lovely day. My name is Mr. 2020. And we'll be back with more tomorrow. See ya.